a lot more because they've been on the planet for a longer period of time. But then if they haven't got a job or not earning as much, then it's like, okay, what have you been doing all of this time at your big age? It doesn't really, I don't know, add up.
It's hard though because you don't know people's, stories or backgrounds or.
Yeah, I mean that just shows though that like you are looking for money in a way. It might not be like that thing, but because they've reached a certain age where you think they're not going to earn any more money than this, so it does mean you do matter about it a little bit.
I feel personally for me, it's more an opinion of like what my parents and what their expectations of me are, especially like obviously being a woman living in a patriarchal society.
Oh God.
Like a lot of things are not really geared towards women's safety or women being able to earn as much money as men. Or
she lives in UK, which is one of the most egalitarian societies ever known to man, where she is more protected than men by the legal system, especially in family courts. More college programs are geared towards her. There's less females homeless in the streets than men. There's less females in prison. Women overall in the West are a protected class of people. But yet she sits here and complains about the patriarchy that protects and serves her.
Being able to reach high CEO positions and stuff.
What are you talking about?
They always talk about CEO positions. They never want to be equal when it comes to being a street cleaner or a miner. They only want to be president or CEO. They never want to do any of the tough jobs. They only want the jobs that they can do in air-conditioned rooms, in buildings that men build, and structures and organizations that men build. They just want to skip the line, skip all the adversity, and just be CEO because I have a vagina. So, therefore, I should be CEO.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Our whole society is geared towards women.
Absolutely.
Women make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions. Our whole media is geared towards women empowerment. There's no men's empowerment.
Okay, well, I don't know the statistics, so I'm definitely wrong here. But I'm just saying in terms of like, I'm
just saying in terms of like, I don't know what I'm talking about really, but I just start talking and I hope somewhere along the lines I make sense. Women will just say shit and hope someone rescues them, or somewhere in their tangent they'll start saying some facts, but they don't. They hardly ever do. They just repeat nonsense that they've heard from other people.
Maybe more so traditional.
Women are not independent thinkers. There are exceptions, obviously. You'll meet the odd female who's an independent thinker and doesn't think whatever the herd thinks, or whatever the thing to believe is in the time. I support the current thing. Women will just support the current thing and just say whatever other people repeat around them.
Values then, and the way that like women see men as a type of security or like a safety net, so to speak. So when looking at it from kind of that perspective, if we're really looking at a man that is the example 35 who's earning a lot less than a female that is a lot younger, then for me personally it would be questionable, because then bringing that home to my family, and my family's like, okay, so you're a young woman, how is your potential husband going to be able to look after you, and not only you but your children?
Do you think it's fair to ask men to provide traditional outcomes when we're not traditional women?
No, it depends on the couple. Like the couple has to be compatible together, and it depends on whether they consider or value societal values in their relationship.
No, so I'm just saying, like, by and large, like, I know there's going to be you know what I mean? I know there's going to be nuance, but I'm saying, like, by and large, do you think it's fair to ask for traditional outcomes when we're not traditional women anymore?
What is your definition of a traditional? So being a traditional woman anymore.
So I would say if you're not a virgin, like, you're not a traditional woman. Because a traditional woman, like, traditionally women were virgins.
Forget virgins. Most of these women don't even have low body counts. A virgin, I know, in a Western society is too much to ask. But that's what the white dress symbolizes on a wedding. That's why the bride wears white, because it's supposed to symbolize purity. But none of these women are virgins when they get married. Most of these women have double or triple digit body counts sometimes by the time they get married. So no, our role has remained static. They're not traditional women anymore. We're expected to still be traditional, still be masculine, still be providers, still be protectors if shit goes down. Yet these women are ran through They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to be good wives. They don't know how to be good mothers. But yet they expect all the traditional masculine shit from us, like chivalry, opening car doors. Yet they're hoes. They want us to open car doors for hoes.
When they got married. And a traditional outcome is when the man is still expected to protect and provide.
Exactly.
So it's like we're asking for traditional outcomes when we're not traditional ourselves.
Yeah, because even in your situation, you were a bit traditional yourself there, because when you answer that, you worry about what your family's going to think. Then why couldn't you be the provider? Like, if you truly felt that way, why couldn't you, that it doesn't matter if the man's a nurse and earning like 20K or whatever, why couldn't you be the big, earn the main thing? So even in yourself, your answer's a bit traditional.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like
because women don't like to be providers in the context of a relationship. They don't like to be with a man that they have to take care of. They'll do it for a little bit. They'll do it for a little bit if they really love the guy, but long term, that dries up their cooch.
Like, that's maybe because I value like my parents' opinion, but then also I wouldn't want to be a provider. Like, I feel as though sometimes women, they take on this big struggle of, I have to do everything, or they don't necessarily have the support of like men.
What are you talking about? You have all the support from men and the system that is created by men.
To like,
these women complain. They just start talking again and hope they make sense. They love to be victims.
Reach their goals and aspirations, and they're looking after everyone else but themselves. So it's just like, I wouldn't prefer to like be like the main earner in my household. Like, I want to put my feet up. I want to relax. Like, the struggle life is not for me.
Yeah, and so you should.
I don't know. I feel like the traditional ways, like, men want the same as we do. Like, you want to be cleaned, cooked for, being taken care of. So
would you say modern women by and large offer that? Because they also want purity and youth, and we don't offer either of those things.
Yep.
Purity, I don't.
Because by the time these chicks get married, they're 29, again with triple-digit body count sometimes.
I think is really a major thing, to be honest, because were women really pure back then, we don't know 100%.
Yeah.
They were purer than they are today.
So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
We can't guarantee.
And a woman being a hoe was not accepted in the 60s or 70s or 80s as much as it is today. Matter of fact, it's encouraged today that women be hoes. Women these days, they date based on Sheryl Sandberg rules. You date the bad boys, the chads, the alphas in your 20s, the commitment phobes, but then you saddle up with a beta boy who's going to see you as an equal in your 30s. And that's the guy that they never respect. And they're miserable and they make the guy miserable. Don't be that guy.
I have a question for the men. Would you want to
be the bad boy who sleeps with them in their 20s? That's the best place to be.
Girl that slept with 100 people?
No.
Would you want a girl that slept with 100 people?
No, but my answer is probably different to what you expect. Like, because my reason is just like, I don't actually care that it's 100 people. It's just the fact that I wouldn't go for that type of girl.
So you do care. This guy's kind of a soy milk enthusiast a little bit. I can tell. He's pudgy. He's got this goofy Spider-Man 3 haircut. He's a nerd. So he doesn't want to say it straight up, but all men are repulsed by a woman who slept with 100 guys.
Who is willing to sleep with 100 people.
Yeah.
So now I'm not saying maybe that chick could be a good person. I met some sluts that were all right people. But now, would they make good wives? No. Hell no.
It's not the number that puts me off. It's just then I know that's that type of person, like to act
but
like
then
that.
you're basing her off the number.
But
well, it's based off of choices that she makes.
Yeah, we do judge women off the number. This woman is getting defensive because even her in her current form, being 80 pounds overweight with a mismatched outfit, like the yellow pants with the camo hoodie, just doesn't work. It doesn't go together. But even her with her bad fashion choices and poor health choices, she still was able to acquire a high body count. That's why she's getting defensive. And for a woman, it's very, very easy to acquire a high body count. But for a man to acquire a high body count, you have to put in value in some way, shape, or form. Whether you're an attractive guy, tall, handsome, whether you got money or something else going for you, you have to put in value in some way for a man to be desired by women like that. But women, They just have to be alive.
Thanks.
Yeah,
so like it's like if I was looking at a guy and he cheated on every single girl he'd been with, like I could infer that he's a cheater. So if a girl's been sleeping around for the past decade, he can infer she's a hoe.
No, exactly.
Yep.
Your body count does not amount to who you are.
Yeah, it does. For a woman, it does, and for a man, it does too. Because if a man has a high body count, that shows that he's considered valuable. Because like I said, for a man to sleep with a lot of women, you have to be a G. So that does say a lot about the man. That says that the man is wanted and desired, and that he passes a lot of tests and he checks a lot of boxes. But any woman can have a high body count. I've broken up with a chick who I loved at the time, and I knew she loved me. But as soon as I figure out she had 25 bodies on her, I dropped her. Like I didn't stop seeing her immediately, even though I told her like I'm not interested in an emotional relationship anymore, a serious commitment. She chose to stay around, so I kept her around because the sex was really good. But as soon as she told me she had 25 bodies on her, the chance of me committing to her or marriage, that was all thrown out the window immediately.
Well, yeah,
and people do change as well.
Yeah, but it amounts to your decision-making abilities.
But then those decision abilities may be...
And it was thrown out the window of a building taller than this.
Determined because of like childhood trauma or like things that person has gone through or experienced like some negative
that's true,
experiences.
but the world doesn't owe you understanding.
Yeah, and we don't have to make your trauma our trauma, or your problems our problems, or your baggage our baggage. That shit is for low value dudes who lack options.
Yeah, the guy's not gonna know that.
So the guy, like, when you come to a guy, he doesn't owe you understanding. And if you come to him and he can tell you slept around,
especially
like,
if you have options
right
as a guy, you don't have to
then
deal with this.
I have a question. Do you think that a male, like for us being women, do you think men owe us respect?
I mean, I think everyone deserves like a basic level of like, I don't even want to say respect, because I guess respect is earned, but like it's human decency. Yeah. But I think like you should be selective in who you date, and I think men have a right to be selective in who they.
I'm courteous and respectful to everyone, even hoes. Even hoes I treat with respect because they're human beings, so I treat them with respect. But do I have to am I then gonna wife up hoes or say that they're marriage material? Hell no.
They date, and if they don't want to date a girl that slept around, I think that's perfect.
Just like ladies, you wouldn't want to be a guy. You wouldn't want to be with a guy who was broke, with no future aspirations or ambition. You ladies, not even just that. You ladies just disqualify guys for things like height, things that they can't control. So is it then too much for me to say, okay, I don't want to be with a woman long term who's been a hoe? That's much more of a reasonable expectation, because your body count is your choice. How tall a man is, it's not up to him at all. It's not something he chooses. Otherwise, everyone would be 6'2" or taller. You know what I mean?
Perfectly fine, and I wouldn't want my brother to date a girl that's like banged the whole football team.
But there's a bit of double standards, because the male can bang the whole.
Yes, there are double standards.
Yeah, because men and women
and they exist for a
different.
reason. Yes,
because
men and women are different.
To become something in order to sleep around.
Exactly what I said.
Yeah, you're not gonna sleep around with like an overweight bum, right? If a guy overweight bum comes up to you, you going on a date with him?
I don't know. Depends on the confidence.
Cap.
It's all about confidence. It's all about.
Well, okay, but if we look at the data, the results speak for themselves. 1 out of 3 men are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year. Yeah. So we don't owe them sex or understanding.
And that's understandable. You don't owe those guys sex,
and
ladies.
That's the same way like men don't owe us relationships.
You don't owe a guy sex that you don't want to have sex with. 100%. In the same way, we don't have to commit to a woman that we don't want to commit to. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of relationships.
We've slept around.
It makes me laugh as well, because if an ugly person comes up to you in a club and gives you a compliment or say something nice, it comes across as creepy. Yeah. Right, that guy's a creep. If a handsome person or a good-looking person comes up to you, you're all flirting, like shy and stuff like that. You know.
The difference between getting a girl's number or her Instagram or a sexual harassment charge is mutual attraction.
So it's depends on the person who says it. It's really
I think
find that strange.
also the equivalent to men sleeping around not being fair is men saying, "Oh, like if I'm broke, should you still date me?" So like women go for guys that are established financially, or that's
and it's your right to, ladies. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of guys get mad about that. Oh, these bitches only want rich guys. They want gold. They're gold diggers. Yeah, duh. It's called hypergamy. It's evolved into them. Women look for security, financial and physical. That's why they like big, tall, strong men, because you're better. You're likely better in combat if you're a big, tall, strong man. And they seek for financial security. That's why they want guys who are rich. The guys who that's why you'll notice at the clubs, all the bitches are at the tables with bottle service. And that's because women seek for security. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's how human evolution has moved forward. It's because women seek to have sex with better and better guys. It's driven our evolution forward. Nothing wrong with that. Similarly, same way, men have a certain nature. Same way women have a certain nature and women have evolved a certain way, men have evolved a certain way. And men are evolved to be repulsed by hoes. That's because in the past there's no DNA tests. There's no way to tell if a kid was yours unless the woman was a virgin. There's no other way.
They won't date a good-looking bum for too long. It won't be long term.
So what the saying, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but how many hoes are housewives right now?
Only celebrities. Right. You think about Kim Kardashian and shit. They always think about celebrities.
Level. Like those girls do usually still get married. The problem is
but they're undercover hoes. They're not open about their hoedom.
Leave. They get bored, and statistically, the data. So like, you're right. I actually agree with you to some level. Like those girls do usually still get married. The problem is they leave. They get bored, and statistically, the data supports that because.
And when she leave your ass, she gonna leave with half. Just like Kanye West once famously wrote in one of his songs.
A woman that's had sex that's a virgin when she gets married has an 80% chance of a happy marriage, and if she has sex with more than 5 people, which most men pray for nowadays,
that's optimistic
it goes down to like 25%.
5 people? Shit.
Is that a happy marriage or is that settling? We don't know.
What do you mean
like
by that?
The woman that was a virgin and then married, we don't know how good her sex life is.
Everything to these modern women is about happiness. Their happiness comes first. Well, marriage is not about happiness. It's about compromise. The man compromises his sexual agency by not going and sleeping with other women, and the woman compromises her sexual agency by not fucking other guys. It's inherently a compromise relationship where you have to compromise with the other person. And it's not always about happiness. It's about raising children, raising a family, and maybe making something bigger than yourselves. But to these modern women, Western women, UK, Canada, US, it's all about happiness. Everything is about eat, pray, love, and garbage, nonsense, because they've been watching too many movies, too much Netflix, too many Disney movies when they were kids. And they think everything is about happiness. They're all princesses. Even this creature over here. And I bet you if you ask her, she probably wants a high-value man too. She wants a 6-figure guy at least 6 feet tall, even though she looks the way she looks. Like, forget the fact that she's fat. She's not even putting in any effort on her appearance. Like, her outfit doesn't match. Her hair's not done up. This is a person who's given up talking about happiness. Happiness. What about happiness? What about her happiness? Bitch, hit the treadmill. You're talking about happiness. Then you'll feel real happiness. One of the most zen feelings I ever get is after a workout. And people like her don't understand. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back into this video with this orca talking about happiness.
Well, but you ask her if she's happy in her marriage, and there's an 80% chance after 10 years she says, yes, I'm happy. Where the girl that's had sex with more than 5 people, there's a 25% chance that she says, yes, I'm happy. So if I'm a dude and I'm thinking, do I want to go with more bodies or less bodies? I'd pick less bodies.
But that's because that's all she knows, isn't it? Like that's all the only person she slept with. So that's what she's going to be happy with. If you've tried and tested around, then obviously you know.
You're right. That's correct. Like the more you have to compare it to, but it's like guys don't want to be compared to a whole bunch of dudes. That's not attractive.
what's wrong with being satisfied?
Yeah, guys don't want to be compared to a bunch of different dudes, man. We don't want to compete with all the ghosts of the alpha males of your past. And let's be honest, most women are sleeping with alpha males. All the top 80% of women are fucking top 20% of the guys according to Tinder stats. So all the fucking, no matter how much of a body count your woman has, whether it's 10 or 20, you know, for if she's reasonably attractive, the guys that she smashed are likely top tier guys. And we don't want to compete with all of them, because you might be better than 10, but you're probably not better than 50. In some way, shape, or form. Whether it's financial, in the bedroom, your looks. You're going to have to compete with all of those guys. And no guy wants to do that. When we don't have to. When we can get somebody with low mileage who's going to be impressed by anything we do. Like a 30-year-old chick with a high body count, she's been on a boat in Dubai. She's been on many, many, many different mansion parties. She's been in a Lambo. There's not much you can show her to impress her. A 21-year-old chick, she's thrilled if you take her on a drive to a drive-through movie.
I don't want to be compared to a whole bunch of dudes. That's not attractive.
What's wrong with being satisfied? I mean, you know, you're saying, oh well, got to go and test drive a whole load of cars before you decide which one you want to spend.
That's basically what chicks are doing these days.
If somebody just gave you a car, you'd be happy with it. And isn't that, at the end of the day, isn't that the objective, to be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, but
if you know, there was an old song in the 60s. If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people have this. No, it's not. It's not settling.
Yeah,
the thing is, the only reason why you think it's settling is because Disney has convinced
it's a fairy
you.
Tale.
Disney has convinced you that you're somehow or another you're a princess that deserves to have a prince. Yeah, and the numbers of princes.
This old white man knows. Whenever an old white man starts talking, I listen, because old white men know some shit.
Very, very low.
Well, and the issue is you have girls that are 4s, 5s, and 6s sleeping with 8s, 9s, and 10s, and they think they're on that level.
Exactly.
And so when they actually meet the guy that's going to marry them and is at their level that'll put a ring on it, they think they're settling, but they're not settling. Your level's what you can get.
So they're dating up then.
You're fucking up.
Women sleep up.
Yeah. Sleeping up.
And the data we have.
She just had that realization right now. She had that epiphany. You can see it in her eyes because she's been doing that. All women do that.
Women sleep up.
Yeah.
Look, she's like, oh, that's why Tyrone won't commit to me.
Sleeping up.
And the data.
Look at it in her eyes. You can see you can see the moment of realization. You see that? Man, I'm so good at this shit.
We have more data on this than ever because we have dating app data, which is extremely honest. So it says what do women want?
Dating app data is the most honest data because you don't have to ask these hoes. It doesn't ask them for what they think, because if you ask them, they'd say the politically correct thing. It goes strictly off the choices that they actually make. The guys they swipe right on. It has stats and data on that. Which guys they message, which guys they end up meeting. It has data on all that shit. So it's the most accurate and true data. Because if you ask a female what you want in a guy, oh, I want a nice guy who buys me flowers and treats me nicely. But if you look at how they operate completely differently. So you can't go based off what they say. You can't go based off what people say in general, because people lie in general, men and women. But especially women, because they want to look politically correct. And they don't want to say something that's unpopular or that's going to look unflattering to them. So women are way more politically correct, and they're therefore much more dishonest if you ask them what they want in a guy.
Screwing all the girls. I mean, I went to 5 dating app data, which is extremely honest. So it says what do women want, and it's between 5 to 15% of guys. They're screwing all the girls.
100%.
I mean, I went to a pickup artist boot camp, which is I did this for a YouTube video where it's like basically a camp where these guys teach other guys how to get laid. And they'll teach them things like, for example, a girl's not going to want to sleep with you if you haven't touched her the whole date. And that's something you wouldn't really think about as a woman. Like, they touch your arm, touch your back. That, like, builds attraction. Mm-hmm. And like one of the dudes that was like teaching the camp, I literally saw him take home 4 girls in 4 days. And none of those girls were that cute. But it's like those guys are literally sleeping with everybody.
I'm surprised because I would have said, if you have to go to a pickup class to get girls,
you're
in the wrong place.
He was the instructor.
Oh,
he wasn't the one. Yeah, if you want to make $1, oh my, it was like, oh my God, they spent a lot of money on that camp. So if you ever want a business, I pick up.
I'm just interested why there were so many girls at a men's pickup.
No, it was just me. It wasn't a lot of girls. It was. Oh, you mean? Right, no, it was basically like they would. All these guys would fly to Vegas, and then at Vegas they would teach them how to get laid at like the clubs and stuff. So I did it as like a vlog. This was like, I don't know, you can probably find it on my channel like 6 months to a year ago. Yeah, and I just wanted to see, like, it's kind of like nosy, like what are the guys talking about?
Yeah, Pearl, I guess my question is like, because we live in a really hypersexualized culture. Mm-hmm. Like, I know, like, I talk to my girlfriends and stuff, and they blatantly lie about how many guys they've had sex with. Mm-hmm. But a lot of guys don't want virgins either. Mm-hmm. So most guys would prefer a virgin over a woman with a high body count. It's like, it's kind of a no-win situation.
It is no, it's not. It's not a no-win situation. This female is wrong, as women generally are about these things.
Blatantly lie about how many guys they like. I know, like, I talk to my girlfriends and stuff, and they blatantly lie about how many guys they've had sex with. Mm-hmm.
Because women inherently know